Separated by cosmic cabinets, Brandon, Paul, and Logan are broadcasting the Breakdown Podcast live using their telepathic powers. My name is Brandon Miracle, broadcasting live from the Break Room Arcade. If you look south of me in the video version, you'll see the beautiful face of Paul Anderson, broadcasting live from the Break Room Clubhouse. If you look to the right of me in the video version, you'll see Logan Welliver, broadcasting live from...
here,
bedroom.
where I'm at.
I don't know, I wanted to stop and just see what would happen. Welcome to episode 15 of the Breakdown Podcast, recorded live on May 25th, 2018. Hey to everybody in the chat. We got a lot to talk about today. Lots of stuff going on in the old Nintendo universe. We got Donkey Kong DLC to talk about in Mario & Rabbids. News that Resident Evil 7 is getting a cloud version in Japan. It's actually already out. Nintendo's applied for a Nintendo 64 trademark. There's been a lot of trademarks going on. Mi Studio, you can now make your Miis in your web browsers, and a bunch of other stuff. So to kind of kick things off, we will start with the DK Adventure DLC in Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Oh god, this is such a nice little package of DLC. Like, I'm 25 hours deep and I'm almost done with the story, and then this is gonna add like another 10 hours to it. Like, that's really awesome. Like, yeah. Especially depending on the price, which we don't quite know yet. But
I think we do know.
Hours. Oh, do we?
The season pass has been available since launch.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I think it might just be like $20.
I do think this is the only DLC we're getting. But if we do get more after this, that'd be cool. Because they're releasing
10 hours worth of story, you know, for $20. Like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's a heck of a lot more than I ever expected to get.
Yeah.
I was expecting maybe like a little 3 or 4 hour campaign with like maybe 5 or 6 battles, but this goes above and beyond my expectations.
It's kind of like they're putting a whole nother game in there. And like looking at their set or the cast of characters for this, Donkey Kong, Cranky Kong, Rabbid, and then Rabbid Peach.
Yeah, and Rabbid Peach looks like she has new skills, or like skills different from the main game.
New tree, yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. I like the idea that they're bringing Rabbid Peach into this, not only like because it fits from a story perspective, but
yeah, she's also my favorite.
Yeah, like she's probably the most popular character in the game, and they're giving her some new life, some new attention. Obviously, we have Donkey Kong. I do want to take a moment to talk about Rabbid Kong Rabbid Cranky Kong, because that actually came as a surprise to me.
Same.
I love how he rides around on Beepo like a unicycle.
It's amazing.
I saw this on Game Explain, but like when you're on the pause menu and you're looking through like weapons and stuff,
exactly what you're talking about.
Rabbid Peach will like try to take a selfie with Rabbid Cranky Kong, and he'll get mad at her.
That is such a nice detail. Like that alone makes me glad that Rabbid Peach is in the mix, because she just adds so much fun to that dynamic.
Yeah, they really like nail the character personalities here. So far, it looks like the blandest character in the package might actually be Donkey Kong.
I think they make up for it well, though, in like how they modeled his moveset.
Oh yeah,
because like if you watch how he plays, like it's so different from like the whole other part or the rest of the game. Yeah, though you have the like little pads that you can jump and like really move around the area. Mm-hmm. You can pick like anything up, and like once he gets done moving, he can toss it.
I really like that. Like the fact that they made brand new gameplay mechanics and elements for this DLC, which really makes this DLC super valuable.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to just like try out Donkey Kong. They've talked about like how he's, how they were like exploring his character for moves. And one of the things they thought about was the coconut gun, but they just ultimately decided against using the coconut gun because they're like, well, we kind of already did that with every other character that's playable. Let's make him a close range character and focus his moveset around that. Perfect. Like those guys really know what they're doing over there at this Ubisoft team. Davide Soliani is a mastermind, by the way. I'm convinced at this point he can do no wrong.
Yeah, I just want to speak out about like the love affair between like I think it's Grant Kirkhope
and Davide.
David's on Twitter.
Yeah,
they're just like constantly going back and forth, and it's kind of adorable. You know what? I'm slightly less excited than you guys are for this DLC, and I'll tell you why. And that's because I've only finished the first world of this game. I have not finished this game, or I just keep putting it off for other things, and I never go back to it.
Honestly, like I'm still on like I think the third to last world, or I might have gotten past that and like stopped immediately when I got to the last world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel you. Like there's been a lot of other things that kind of grabbed my attention, but I think this is a solid reason for me to go back and finish that because I really just want to try out this DLC.
Yeah,
and knowing that it's only 10 hours, like it doesn't feel intimidating, but it definitely feels like a good reason to come back.
Yeah.
Like
it's just substantial enough.
Oh yeah, I love hearing that a game is like shorter, right? So because it makes me think about how I'm gonna budget my time for it, right? And it's really easy when a game is like 12 or like less hours. Like it's really easy to justify just sitting on the couch for like 3 days straight and just playing through the whole thing,
Yeah.
And that's fun. Like that's how I played through all the Uncharted games. I just kind of sat there for a bit, and sometimes it only took me 2 sit-ins, to get through those games. So yeah, maybe for this, maybe I just need to play a little bit more or segment it out. Like, okay, now I'm going to finish this world. I'm going to do that for the next few days.
You watched a lot of me streaming that too.
Yes, I did. I watched a lot of it.
So I wonder if that's playing into it at all too.
It might, but I didn't see like the end game stuff. So I probably, if I get after a certain point, I'll probably be a lot more inclined to play it because I haven't seen it. But the fact that I got through the first world, is good enough. It's not like I've not done nothing with the game. So
sure,
there's still 3 worlds for you left to enjoy.
Right,
that's the bright side. Is you still got 3 worlds.
Get with Johnny and play the co-op stuff. The co-op stuff's really
Johnny's
good.
not gonna play that with me.
Oh come on, you got to find someone.
Johnny's a bum. Johnny's a bum. Johnny doesn't like playing anything that isn't like nostalgia bait.
Oh.
Or like NBA or Call of Duty. Like I'll play Call of Duty with them.
You need to find the right person to play this with, because I played a lot of it with Devin, and you control 2 characters each.
I have played a little bit of it. Yeah, I played a little bit with Nolan one time.
For like a new I guess we could say new IP. This is technically a new IP. For something that's so new, this game is incredibly well packed, like with stuff to do.
They nailed this, absolutely.
I'm excited I'm excited for the Donkey Kong Adventure DLC. The fact that there's 3 worlds contained within that itself, and we're going away from Mario and mixing things up with Donkey Kong, so there's going to be even more references. I've heard some of the music from Grant
changed
Kirkhope,
the coins to bananas and stuff like that.
Yeah. They're really going as far as they should be, and I would say even further than the average person would have thought. So that's exciting.
I feel like I should be more excited just because it's Donkey Kong. I love Donkey Kong. Like I've talked about. I have a video up on the channel about Donkey Kong Country. But yeah. We'll see. I'll probably pick it up at some point.
Mm-hmm. Really quickly in the chat, Nintendo Snow Plays said Rosalina would make a really good addition. Imagine Rabid Rosalina. I actually would be very curious to see what they do with her personality if they do something kind of like crazy like Rabid Peach.
They have to have a Rabid Luma to go along with her.
Ooh, that would make it so amazing.
That'd be pretty cute. Yeah, so, maybe we'll get more DLC in the future, and I kind of want to see them follow this trend of maybe extending outside of Mario, and maybe focusing on some of those, tertiary franchises to Mario, like Yoshi. I think it'd be cool, and it makes it fresher, when we get there.
Okay, and now the next question is, what IP does Ubisoft touch next?
That's a good question.
F-Zero.
If we could have Ubisoft make another game with some Nintendo IP,
wasn't there some IP that they expressed interest in working with?
Did they?
I think I could have sworn they did, but I don't remember which one it was.
I don't remember anything like that. I know Koei Tecmo has been expressing interest in other things.
Oh yeah, that was Mario, wasn't it? That might
Yeah.
have been what I was thinking of.
I
Dang
want to
it.
say they talked about Star Fox too, or maybe something else.
Yeah.
But I think they actually got turned down on Mario. I can't remember.
Well,
Understandable.
I mean, this is kind of exciting in another sense, right? Because like, Nintendo kept talking about how they were doing more things with more companies, right? And that's certainly the case. You look at the amount of other large companies that will develop a game for Nintendo, like Bandai Namco or Ubisoft or all these other stuff. Like, so there's just so many options and so many like possibilities. So I wonder like if Nintendo will like let them have the reign on something else,
I think they're going to be loosening up. I wouldn't be surprised if at E3 we see a brand new collaboration that we weren't expecting.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
So for those of you who haven't gotten Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, there is a new option for you. They're releasing a gold edition at the same day that the DLC drops that will feature the DLC in the package. So there's a new option for you there if you haven't picked it up. I would highly recommend you pick up this game. It really is a golden treasure, and it's going to be one of those games that the Switch is remembered for, guaranteed. Because it came out in those early months of the Switch where we didn't have a lot of new, and that kind of started headlining the new and original stuff we were getting for Switch. So with that, moving on, Mario Tennis Aces demo is now available for download. That will not be live until next weekend. Will be the online tournament. And sure enough, within 1 day of the demo going live, it has been data mined, and the entire character roster has been leaked online.
We can't have nice things. This is why we can't have nice things.
I am going to read them off really quick, so if you don't want to hear that, just mute for
Like your ears
the next
go
20
la,
seconds.
la, la.
Yeah. So the characters are as follows: Mario, Luigi, Wario, Waluigi, Peach, Daisy, Yoshi, DK, Bowser, Bowser Jr., Dry Bowser, Boo, Rosalina, Toadette, Toad, Diddy Kong, Koopa Troopa, Paratroopa, Shy Guy, Kamek, Birdo, Spike, Dry Bones, Boom Boom, Chain Chomp, and Blooper. So that could include like all the DLC, well, not DLC, but like the tournament characters we unlock for participating online.
Right.
Don't know for sure if it does. But look, right off the bat, I'm noticing that they're not really pulling new characters as much as they're pulling from other Mario minions that we've seen in the past, which is an interesting
It's an
approach.
interesting approach.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there's a
I
good
kinda like that.
variety in here. I really like this.
And Boom Boom could probably come with like a male-female variety.
Right. And who knows, like they could have more than this, down the line, depending on how
Yeah.
the game does.
I will
And,
say
here's the paid DLC.
There's one glaring omission from this.
Who's that?
It's Pauline.
Yeah.
They should really add Pauline from her Super Mario Odyssey appearance.
Yeah, after she really kind
After
of
that, like it's kind of that
Right-
really is
right
a
in the
bad
front.
like character to miss.
Yeah.
the mayor of New Donk City. Why is the mayor not invited to this?
They might
tennis
be like
romp?
they might not want to like push too far with the old Donkey Kong arcade references and bringing Pauline like back full on into the Mario universe. But if they put her in a headlining Mario game, there's kind of like no excuse. Like she has every right
Yeah,
to
she
be there.
was really prominent in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to New Donk City and you're like, this is incredible, and there's the whole festival, and she's singing, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, yeah. No, I don't think this will be all the characters we have.
Yeah, I don't either.
No, but I mean, for the free stuff, we're playing online and unlocking these characters. These are just the unlockables, right? A lot of them are. Obviously, you're going to start with Mario and Luigi, but we'll get more down the line. I mean, if Nintendo is going to keep on doing what they're doing, then you're going to see a $20 DLC pack down the line.
Yeah.
That's just what you're going to see.
I just took a quick head count, and I think it was either 26 or 27 playable characters out of that list. That's a lot
That's not
for
a
a
bad
tennis
roster,
game.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
more than Mario Kart, I think. At least like
Especially
Mario
for
Kart
like
Wii.
a good looking Mario Tennis game.
Oh, yeah.
Like a really good looking Mario Tennis game. Like I haven't been excited for a tennis game in a long time. Like I'll talk about it again and again and again and again and again. Mario Tennis for the Game Boy Color is the best Mario Tennis game. And this game looks like it's given it a run for its money.
That's true.
So,
and you know, like we recently like had that character trailer, not the character, the story trailer a little while ago, which kind of
That was interesting.
it kind of blew me away in a sense that I wasn't expecting the story to kind of be that deep.
Yeah.
You know, they have Luigi, they're like making Luigi kind of a villain, it seems like. He's getting taken over by this racket. And now Mario has to go rescue him. So it's not Peach getting kidnapped for once, so that's kind of cool.
yeah.
That's kind of an awesome story.
Yeah.
It's always fun when they change it up.
This is a
Luigi-
title that I'm still not entirely sure on, but like the more I see of it, like that story trailer especially was like a good selling point for me. It's probably not like a launch game but definitely something that like I look forward to playing out the demo and then eventually picking up if I can get it a little cheaper.
They're really kind of pushing like the replay value on this one. So like they have that nice single player adventure, which is something we've never really had for Mario Tennis outside of the handheld games. And they're going to support it post launch with, you know, online tournaments that actually get you really cool rewards like playable characters. So I think they've got a good strategy here for this game, and I think they're actually viewing this game as an evergreen title more so than they have in the past.
Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like it. It looks like they're doing the same kind of thing that they were doing with, you know, specifically with Splatoon 2 and ARMS, you know, just rolling out that DLC slowly, incentivizing people to keep coming back to play certain modes. Specifically for this one, it's like, hey guys, play online, because that's how you're gonna get the characters, you know.
I feel like they need to be pushing that, like those online titles in preparation for Switch Online. Get people kind of
absolutely.
hyped up for that.
Absolutely.
Like, this is a good game for that.
They're showing that they're serious about this and that they're going to do it right. So each of their games with their online offerings, it's like, okay, look at this. It's compelling. I have a reason for all these different games to purchase the online service, you know? So slowly but surely, I think you will see more things roll out for more games that'll be just like, this is what we've been waiting for.
I want to give a quick shout out to Maruto Fighter in the chat, who recently commented on Paul's background.
I do have an update, actually.
Go for it.
I had all of my poster collection. I have a very large like movie poster collection. I moved into this house fairly recently, and I just haven't really taken the time to set up stuff like that because I'm not sure how long I'm going to be here. But I did get my poster collection, and I did bring it back. I was planning on hanging up a poster or two this weekend for you, man. For you.
I got new
Everything for you, man.
posters. I already have posters.
So thanks for checking us back out. So yeah, I'm excited to see how I feel about the game after I play the demo this coming weekend. There's so many changes to the core.
How you feel?
There's so many changes to the core gameplay that I definitely feel like this is going to be a very different Mario Tennis than we're used to.
Yeah, I think like the interesting thing with Switch is that it seems like they're not just putting games on the console because, oh, hey, we haven't had like a Mario Tennis game in a while. We should put another Mario Tennis out. It's, hey, let's make a really good Mario Tennis game. And yeah, Switch is our console right now, so that's where it's going to go. But
on the other hand, it almost feels like this game is an apology for Ultra Smash.
Oh, it totally is. It totally is. Like, I never actually played Ultra Smash, and then like in the past like few months, it's like we've been talking about it because of the new Mario Tennis, right? And I'm just looking at this, and I'm like, wait, that can't be it, right? Like,
Oh man,
there's nothing here. There's nothing here. But and yeah, so they're definitely, it's an apology of sorts.
On some
that
level, I
was
feel
an
like this is
example.
the game we were supposed to get, and it was abandoned when Nintendo said, "Hey, we have to pull the plug on all of this Wii U stuff."
yeah, that also just felt like an example of like, hey, we haven't seen a Mario Tennis game in a while. Let's put it on this console. You know,
I mean, they had
This
one on
console needs
3DS
one.
like 2 years prior to that, so it hadn't necessarily been that long. man, that game's a wreck. So excited to have a good Mario Tennis.
It's a racket.
We haven't had a good one, I would say, since Mario Power Tennis on the GameCube, so it's been a while. With that, quick mention that Nintendo 64 got a trademark by Nintendo this week. Nintendo's been kind of on a trademark rampage as of recently. So this could honestly mean nothing, but some are taking it that N64 Classic is on the way.
I mean,
go ahead.
I was gonna say that like it's still something that if we want to see an N64 Classic at any point, they have to renew that trademark.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't necessarily mean like that's going to be the classic console we get this year that we're going to get one, but it is a necessary step towards that happening.
I think Nintendo's doing this on purpose because I think most people know that it doesn't necessarily mean anything. These trademarks don't mean anything. It's just regular stuff. It's just things that they do.
This is business.
Right. But I wonder if they when it was originally going to expire and when they're just like, okay, we're going to renew this, because I think they waited until this time to start renewing all these things, right? Mm-hmm. Because regardless of whether they mean anything or not, people see this and they go nuts. They report on it, and then all of a sudden something's buzzing about something else. So all of a sudden, oh no, they trademarked the N64. That means the N64 Classic is on the way. That's why they trademarked
I mean, real
it.
quickly, last year about this time, didn't they actually do the same thing for the SNES?
I think so, but
it's just interesting how
all their terms and their specifically SNES Classic and other stuff.
I don't know. Say it's just interesting timing in that regard. Like they're just kind of planning and
I think it's
as those trademarks were as the trademarks were coming up to be renewed. Like, hey, let's do something with this.
I have a theory that a lot of these trademarks might be coming out now in preparation for Smash Brothers coming out later this year, where a lot of those trademarks are probably
also
going
might
to
be
need
really
to be
true,
there.
right? Just get them all fresh, right?
Yeah, it could mean more. You never know. A lot of times we'll see a trademark come out, and then maybe a little while later a game gets announced. Well, maybe that trademark didn't really have anything to do with that game happening anyway. Maybe it was just time.
Right.
I mean, I do think eventually we will see an N64 Classic. I don't think this is the precursor to that. I was reminded today that apparently last year they had a patent for the N64 controller. And the speculation on that was that maybe it was a way to manufacture it a little bit cheaper for an eventual N64 mini.
Sure.
Who knows?
Yeah, they just totally redesigned the controller.
My advice would be just not to read into it too deep. There's a good chance N64 Classic will happen. Whether or not that's soon, we're not sure. And
if it happens, great. I'll add it to my collection. If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be heartbroken.
And it starts the conversation.
For sure. So I want to make a quick note about what I just posted in the chat. Nintendo No Plays already says that he'll be involved. We are live streaming a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tournament with fans tomorrow night. I posted a tweet in the chat which has the code and all of the tournament information that you need in order to join. Please join. We're going to live stream it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and maybe we'll turn this into a regular thing. If Smash Brothers brings its tournament mode from Smash 4 back, we'll even do some of those. So definitely get involved. We're excited to play with you guys, and I think it'll be a lot of fun.
I like how optimistic you are that Smash Brothers is coming to the Nintendo Switch.
I know, I'm crazy, right? There's no way that'll happen.
No way.
I want to take a quick minute to talk about Nintendo Labo's sales. The NPD data just came out for this. Let's see. Adventure Beat, they said that Labo met its sales predictions, so it has solid month sales. Not fantastic, not terrible. So it's just kind of hitting the bar.
It's what they expected.
Yeah, so that's not great, but that's also not bad. So it is what it is. I have a feeling we'll see Labo get a couple more kits going into the Christmas season, and maybe we'll see a bigger push for it then. We're still kind of in the early stages of that, so...
It kind of reminds me a bit of Amiibos, in that they started making all these Amiibos, and there wasn't really a whole lot you could do with them, except in this particular case, you have what is it, or Labo Garage or whatever.
Toy-Con Garage.
You have very little software, so like most people got it, they played around with it, they enjoyed themselves, and then they put the cardboard in a corner and just kind of forgot about it.
That
And
seems
so
to
if
be
they
what's
do
happening. Yeah.
something with it that like kind of works in with a game, I think people will probably get more use out of it. They'll probably see slightly better sales number. They'll slowly see that improve.
There's a lot of speculation that Yoshi's new game will have Labo integration just because so much of it's based around cardboard. I could totally see that happening. Do I think it's going to happen? Actually,
Nope.
I don't. I don't think it's going to happen at all.
Nope.
But maybe it will. Who knows? I could just be wrong.
I think you might see like a Yoshi themed Labo kit at some point.
I think that's more likely.
I could see some Nintendo themed Labo kits,
Wait.
but I don't think you're going to see Labo integration.
But you guys don't think they're
some of
going
these
to integrate
games.
the Labo robot kit with Yoshi can control Yoshi as the giant robot?
We have to use Labo for like the most completely inappropriate like uses. I'll wear the robot kit while I'm playing Mario Tennis using the motion controls.
Yo,
I'm not
it would
gonna
be
lie.
pretty funny to be able to like design the controller that way so you could just like use it as a controller for games just because like why not, you know?
I feel like tennis with the robot kit would actually be kind of fun.
How much value would
Yeah,
that add
actually.
though? Like it'd be kind of stupid, but at the same time, just the fact that you could do it would be the draw, right?
I have a feeling like Nintendo is just waiting for an application in a main game that actually like adds value to the control scheme. Like they're not just
Yeah.
going to tack
well,
it
like
on
maybe
something.
like a certain mode or something
Yeah.
like that in the game.
I
Just throw it in there. Hey, if you have the Labo kit, you can do this.
I do have a feeling though that Nintendo is going to keep Labo as far away as possible from their main launches, like their main games.
That's
Right.
probably a good thing.
Maybe all of their games actually.
I mean, eventually,
yeah, I can see
if
that.
they find like the motorcycle, if they wanted to make it so you can use that as like a controller scheme for Mario Kart, okay,
Yeah,
doesn't
sure,
hurt
that's
anything.
fine.
If it's, I can see them doing it like more as like a side thing to give a little more value to Labo, but not as like a direct like you need this Labo kit to play this game.
Nintendo No Play says that Labo is the kind of thing I'd love, but wouldn't want to get unless it was a Christmas or birthday gift. I'm kind of with you there. Labo's not something I'm particularly super invested in, but also I'm not the target audience. This is definitely aimed at children and families.
Yeah, there's a reason they didn't reveal this in like a Nintendo
Direct,
Direct.
They were
very
They were
careful with
like,
how they
it's
did that.
its own thing.
I would
Just
say
here's a
that might be
video.
like one of the most carefully crafted marketing like schemes they've ever pulled. Because
Yeah, their messaging was kind of on point for this one,
very clear.
and that's why the reception was positive.
Yeah. So
knew
that's
exactly what it
Labo.
was.
Hopefully we see that get some more momentum going forward. It's nice. It's always nice when Nintendo has these secondary profits, secondary ways to make money. That's what they're
Yeah.
doing with mobile, and so far it looks like the money they've been making from mobile has really been helping out on the first-party content side. So bless you.
Diversify.
Yes. I mean, we're getting movies, we're getting anime, a lot of cool stuff is happening.
Oh yeah.
So, one of the main reasons a couple of you guys are in the chat right now is to talk about that news that Resident Evil 7 got a cloud version in Japan. Right now, it's exclusive to Japan. And
2 for 2 in Japan.
the reaction to this has been overwhelmingly negative. I'm not that upset about this. So I'm going to be completely honest. Like, for one, it didn't even release in the West, so like it doesn't matter as much, despite the region free. And I know a lot of people here in the States have been trying it, and the servers just aren't pulling through because, you know, we're
It's
not in
Japan.
I've seen so many people wondering like they just didn't port the game. I'm going to guess that porting the game would have taken too many resources from them right now. If they wanted the game out there, this was the easiest way to do that.
Also, they can make it look better if it's just streaming, you know, because it's not running on the Switch hardware. It can run on hardware that it's going to make it look really pretty, and you don't have to worry about if the Switch is going to be able to run it well enough or not, you know?
Dream Drop Sora actually brings up probably the biggest point of contention for people, and that's the fact that you will not be able to play this on the go necessarily without, internet connection.
Right.
That's like the one area I'll give it to you. But
I think it depends on the experience.
That's true.
Really just depends. If it's a game that's really meant for like the traditional home consoles experience where you sit on your couch and you play it from home, like a lot of these games, I'm gonna guess, are games that are on traditional home consoles too, and so the experience is expected to be that of you're at home, you're not taking it with you. Which, I mean, it does kind of kill the Switch being a portable console, that whole thing. But if it's the difference between just not getting it at all or only being able to play it at home, I'd still rather have the option to play it, but only at home.
Yeah. Another thing is that you get, I think for $20, you get 6 months of access to the game. Right off the bat,
I have problems with.
I don't at all. For $20, I'm gonna play this game once, finish it, and probably never touch it again. So, like, if I don't have access to it later on, I don't really care that much.
Right.
That being said, I also have a PC and a PS4 that I could get the game on if I really wanted to own it.
Right, and there's the real kicker, right? Because a lot of people are gonna have a PS4 or PC to play this on, right? Not everybody. So if you just have a Switch, hey, it's an option. You have this option. Also, it's in Japan, okay? So, like, you don't even get, like, a chance unless they release it in the West. So just go play it on your PS4 or PC anyway, But if you're in Japan and you got a Switch and you got good internet, or you go to, like, an internet cafe or something like that,
And that's a bigger thing in Japan. So, like, this is easier targeted at Japanese people because they have more public access.
Right. And I mean, that in and of itself might be the reason that, hey, sure, I'll take a cloud version,
I do want to quickly point out Nintendo Snow Plays. He says, if you want pretty graphics, don't play the Switch. The only reason you get Wolf 2, LA Noire, or Doom on Switch is for portability. Take that away, and what are you even left with? That's a good point. The huge selling point for this console is the fact that you can take it on the go. That being said, I don't think that has to be the cornerstone of every decision made for a game that comes to it. Like Paul mentioned earlier, some games are better suited for portability, others are not. You could argue that all day, but in the end, this is kind of what we're left with.
Yeah, and ultimately, I don't think we're going to get the cloud version in the West.
I just don't think
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
No. I say if we get Resident Evil 7, it'll be at a later date. As a downgraded port, just like all these other games. Like, they could do it, they've done it with other games, but I don't think we're going to get the cloud version. I think if we're going to get Resident Evil 7 on the Switch, it's going to be, a $60 title down the road. As sad as that sounds, like, it's going to be a full price title with all the DLC just released, on the Switch.
I don't necessarily want to see this become a trend, but only because of like actual ownership of games. I don't necessarily like it being more of like a subscription type deal. It's okay, but it's something that like I buy this game and I want to just have it. I want to be able to come back and play it at any time.
I mean, that's why I buy physical games.
If I started playing this, I decide, like, I get distracted by other things. Smash Brothers comes out, and I stop playing it, my subscription lapses. It doesn't actually even save your save data on the console, and you just lose it. You create a new account, you lost all your progress. And so I feel like there's still things to work out here. It's okay. It's not, like, the ideal experience that I want for a lot of games. If it makes certain games possible on the hardware, and I'm in a position where maybe I don't want it on a home console, or like I'm a family man, we only have a Switch, and this is the only way I can experience this.
Right.
It's okay to give the option. You don't have to necessarily act.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, for example, there's a ton of really inconsequential, like, anime on Verve, and I don't feel the need to go out and put that in my collection. But it's nice having the option while I'm streaming. It's like, oh, it's here. I might as well watch it. So the same thing comes with streaming. That's why streaming services make more sense than just here is a singular title that you can stream. But I think as the internet becomes more ubiquitous, that it's everywhere, then these kind of like, oh no, I don't have Netflix, I don't have Hulu. No, you're gonna have access to the internet, and that'll be okay. But for now, it's still like, well, until I can just sit around in my car and have internet access in my car, and my car drives me, like, I don't think a singular title that you can stream is gonna, take off as like the way to go about it.
And that's not to say that with a future iteration of the Switch that we don't get LTE and on board.
Right. Yeah, and I could see them saying like, "Hey, you spend $10 more a month, you get this much data on the go," And here's how much that's good for. Like, if you play like this, you're gonna want this plan. If you play like this, you're gonna want this plan. If you play like this, don't even bother because you'll be spending too much money.
I mean, you know what they say: the future is now.
Right.
So I think we can all agree that we don't necessarily like this, but I don't think it's a cause for worry as of right now.
I don't dislike it. I don't dislike it. I'm really just indifferent. I'm just like, hey, it's an option that's fantastic. I think the fact that it's available to those who play on Switch only, I think that's really compelling, especially if you have access to very good internet. Yeah,
I should clarify. I don't hate this either. But I mean, as a consumer, it doesn't necessarily affect me because I don't live in Japan.
Yeah,
I live here.
We're not their market.
This was only announced for Japan, by the way. So for all we know, and for what I expect, this is never coming here. At least not in this state. So that's kind of what we think on Resident Evil 7 cloud version. Hopefully, if it does come to the West, maybe we'll get a digital download or a cartridge edition, and maybe they will bring the cloud version over. Who knows? I want to quickly point out, Nintendo No Play says, it may sound good because you have options, but that means developers have more options to port games, and this is the cheaper and easier one. Imagine what road that could go down.
Well, it's really what's gonna bring them more cash in the end, right? Mm-hmm. So is it cost effective just to put a cloud version up and run a bunch of hardware of their own?
They do have to spend money on that.
Right. And so, like, at the same time, like, I don't think a lot of people, unless you're a really, really, really big studio and it makes sense that, this many people are going to be using it as a service as opposed to just buying like a $60 game up front. You have to weigh that against it. And because, I play these games at home. I will not be playing these games on the go. I'll get this on PS4 and PC. I'm not butthurt, over any of this.
I mean, Brendan, you said like the general response to this whole thing has just been like relatively negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that would stop them if they're actually listening. If developers are listening, I think that alone would stop them from doing that or like using that unless it's necessary. If they know that people are generally hesitant about it, and it could potentially lead them to like other consoles anyway, either just don't make or like don't port this or port it right. Port it in a way that will appeal to people.
Right.
And they got to be careful how they approach this going forward because this will not be available forever.
Yeah.
One day, this particular service for this one game is going to get shut down and you'll never have access to it again.
Yeah.
They have to take that into consideration as well.
I mean, if they also want to move them like Switch copies, the selling point's portability, and as we already established, this makes the game not portable.
And all of Capcom's
so they lose their chance of selling it twice.
All of Capcom's ports up till now have been real ports. So this is just one in the bunch. So I wouldn't be worried
I think
yet.
this also might be like testing the waters,
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't.
This isn't even the only cloud game available. Like in Japan, there's also Phantasy Star Online 2, which is a cloud version of that game. That's just the way it is. Sorry to bring up bad things for you, Paul.
Give me a second. I'll be back in a second. I just need to...
Had to remind you, buddy.
I hadn't freaked out about it yet today, so now's the time.
He needed to get it out. He was like, something's wrong today. There's something in my gut that I don't know what it is. And he
I haven't been upset about
got it out
Phantasy
of the
Star
system
yet.
just now. He finally figured out what it was.
So, like I said, I wouldn't be worried yet. We'll definitely see where this goes. I don't think this will be the last time we see a cloud version, but I don't think that's going to be the only way we see these games. I think there will be multiple purchasing options. That's the hope, at least. Dream Drop Sora's comment there is pretty great. We'll move on. Media Studio is officially available on browsers, so you can hook up your Nintendo account and make your
That's
Mii's
like
online.
literally all you need to know. It's just you can build Mii's in your browser. That's all there is.
Pretty much.
I do have one question.
It took a long time
I wonder
to get to
how
this point.
I wonder how this will play into the online services, if at all, in the future. Just in terms of like just having different ways of having access to it. Or what if this is included in the Nintendo Switch Online app, the new version, the full version, later
I'm sure
down
it
the
will
line?
be, probably. I mean, you can already buy eShop games online.
Yeah.
That was a pretty big step, if you ask me, at least in,
And I've done
Nintendo
it.
terms.
I've done it several times. I bought Rocket League just through my browser, and then it downloaded to my Switch, and Unholy Heights. That was another one. While we were podcasting.
It's a dangerous game, man.
I never use that feature to buy games while I'm at work. What? Where do you get off?
I haven't
Okay.
downloaded entire PS4 games while I was at work before.
Oh man, I tried. Okay, so yesterday I was like, oh man, like Detroit's available for preload, and I went online. I didn't even have an app or anything. I went on PlayStation and looked up the information. I found the downloads, and I could just download stuff to my PS4. The problem was you can't like manage all of that stuff from like your phone, so I actually couldn't fit Detroit on there because I had too much stuff on there.
Oh.
So, but that's okay. I didn't get to play it until today anyway. So,
Well, that's pretty much all we got for news this week. There wasn't a lot of big stuff, kind of a smaller week, and that's probably because we got E3 coming up in like 2 weeks.
everybody, it's like the quiet before the
Where's
storm.
my Pokemon announcement?
I'm gonna bring it up once again during the week of E3. We'll be streaming every press conference except EA. We'll be there pretty much live, probably all Tuesday. There might be like a couple hours where we're not there during the Treehouse, but for the most part, we're gonna be there pretty much the whole time. So you can expect reactions, commentary. We're gonna be covering it all for you. So definitely check that out. It's gonna be a good time.
No, Dream Job Sora says Detroit.
It does seem like reception to that's been better than their previous games.
It has, and I'll talk about it more when I get like into the game.
It's a good thing
because I
we're
would like to talk about
switching
it.
into the breakdown portion of the podcast.
Right, I'll talk about it a little bit here. But
This is the part of the show where we talk about our favorite movies. Well, not our favorite, but the movies, TV, anime, and video games that we experienced over the week. Just a quick precursor. I started playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm excited to talk about that.
It's
So
a
did
good
Paul.
game.
And
Yeah, I did.
Logan's playing Detroit. It's kind of
yeah,
kicked
you
things
guys
off.
got your new game. I got mine.
Yeah, we all played new games this week. This doesn't happen all the time.
Go team.
So for movies and TV, I actually didn't watch anything, so I have to bump it over to Logan.
Oh,
Oh.
so I was telling Paul earlier.
Show us what
okay.
you got, man.
We are in the 8th season of Bob's Burgers, which seems insane. Okay, I think Bob's Burgers is like a modern classic.
See an intense.
Right. It's so good. It's so funny. It's held up and still holds up for 8 seasons later. And they just had like their 20th episode of the 8th season, which I'm not sure if that's their I think that might be the season finale. I think they're really getting ready to finish up this season. But it was the best episode possibly that I've ever seen. Like, in my opinion, I was like, oh my gosh, I think that's my favorite episode. It was a bundle of joy. I don't even want to like talk about it because it's better if you just watch it. So if you watch Bob's Burgers, even if you don't watch Bob's Burgers, if you have Hulu or something like that, go in, watch the latest episode of Bob's Burgers because it's just a treat. It's so good.
Fair enough.
Personal recommendation. I don't care if you don't watch it. Just watch that episode. That's all I got to say about that.
All right, Paul, what do you got?
Okay. So I had a couple of movie recommendations that I sat down to watch this week. First up is Drop Dead Fred, and that's a weird movie that is very poorly reviewed, and I watched it anyway because I personally believe that enjoyment is a frame of mind, and if you go into it with the opinion that you will enjoy it, usually you do.
Absolutely.
There were still like a lot of flaws with this movie. It's a very like immature film. A lot of like the events and like dialogue is like I feel like the director had like his 5-year-old son like co-direct it with him.
What kind of film is this?
So, I mean, to just give you the premise, and I think this will like enlighten you. There's this girl. She has this imaginary friend named Drop Dead Fred. She grows up, and you can tell she's been like emotionally abused by her mom. She's in a not necessarily like physically abusive relationship. She's in a bad relationship. Her husband's like clearly cheating on her, and she's still trying to get this man back. And so just like at the very like rock bottom, her car's been stolen, her purse has been stolen. She had to move back home with her mom. On that day, her imaginary friend comes back, and he's just like this really like
I think I've
bumbling guy that like just keeps making things worse. And there's a lot of like merit to that like plot. I feel like there's a lot of really good things that they were doing with this movie. You know, that whole like going back to your childhood and kind of like reconnecting with your youth and learning to stand up for yourself, and those kind of messages are good. The execution needed work. I wish it would have.
The reviews online, like a lot of.
I mean, they were pretty darn accurate. I gotta say, like having like read a few of them before I went in, I just wanted to know what to expect.
And that's really the most important thing. It's why we enjoy Room, right?
Yeah.
Just movies that like it's okay if it's bad, you can still enjoy it though.
It's like they were trying to make a movie for adults, and then they were also trying to make a movie for kids simultaneously. So like they were trying to make an R-rated film and a G-rated film, and it ended up just being this really like inconsistent hybrid.
Yeah,
Disney's
that's
pretty
how
good
I
at doing
felt
that.
during Sausage Party.
I don't think I can ever enjoy Sausage Party again. Like, I tried watching it a second time, and I think I even tried watching it a third time, and it got worse every time I watched it.
Yeah, it doesn't try to be anything other than crass, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of its focal point, and I guess that it succeeds in that, but I don't like things just because they're crass.
This is kind of a good segue into my next movie. I do want to stop here with just like, it's a fine experience just once.
Right.
I feel like that's the amount that you need to see it, and then after that, like revisiting it, it's gonna lose the impact of that first view.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna use that to kind of roll into I sat down to rewatch Deadpool. I also went and saw Deadpool too, but I had this like eternal struggle after I got done with it. Which one did I like more? Brandon, you said last week that you like Deadpool 2 more.
Yeah. And I've had a second viewing of Deadpool before where I didn't enjoy it as much the first time. That could just be a thing with me in comedies. I don't know.
I had to like go back and rewatch it because I felt like I had those like rose tinted goggles for that movie. That movie like was really impactful the first time you see it. I remember like laughing to the point of tears in the theater when he like breaks both of his hands on Colossus and then his leg. Like that just killed me.
Well, I think one of the reasons Deadpool resonated so well is because it was Deadpool. It's what you expected. It's what everybody got.
It was also kind of like an impossible thing that happened.
Yeah, the fact that it's like, okay, here's test footage, and the test footage gets leaked, and then that's what greenlights the movie is because the test footage leaked,
Leaked.
And look how well it did, it did commercially as well. And then all of a sudden, we always knew there was a demand for this film because we're humans. Who wouldn't want a Deadpool film, right? But then the execs up here, Fox and everybody, it's like, oh no, nobody would want that film. It's not marketable.
And then it was the best
but that's just not the
R-rated
case.
film of all time, right?
Right. And so it was something I feel like it was filling a void that wasn't being filled.
Yeah.
Right. Here's that high quality R-rated, really just beautiful conglomeration of I don't know, just
Well, here's the thing with Deadpool, looking back at it, that
attitude.
it wasn't until I went back to watch it that I realized just how dry of a movie that is. It had if they had a superhero movie that was just indie, it'd be Deadpool. Because the intro just it's very quiet. And there's not a whole lot happening. There's these really hilarious moments kind of scattered throughout. I feel like they did so well with such a small budget. And so I'll always have massive respect for that movie. And I still absolutely love it.
Also,
I should make it clear. I don't dislike the first movie. I just don't think it's something I can watch again.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
I think I had to give it to Deadpool 2 as well.
I will probably be seeing Deadpool 2 this week, probably in the next few days, because
you got your movie pass?
I got my movie pass. I won't
look at you go.
Just
does it have courtesy of Bab on it?
No, that's what I'll sign it with.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I also like the fact that Deadpool exists and it relates to people differently merely because he breaks the fourth wall. And so he exists within the film, but then he also exists in our reality too, right? Because he sees us and he talks to you directly, right? So it's Deadpool's right there. And that's just we don't there's not a lot of really funny superheroes that are just he's here too. So there's just so many things that work about it. They use that to no end with the marketing, with the recent marketing and all the DVD cover, Blu-ray cover.
I love that so much.
I was talking about for weeks leading up to Deadpool 2 how they were just doing nothing with the marketing, and they waited till the movie came out really to push it.
Yeah. Honestly, I think their best joke in the movie is responsible because of marketing, and the way they market it, what impressions they're giving you really feeds into that movie.
Yeah.
You'll understand that.
I want to hit up some of the comments really quick. Dream Drop Source says Sausage Party has that weird Seth Rogen and James Franco thing where it's provocative for the sake of being provocative, and the jokes are awkward and awkwardly long, like the new Muppets movie. I do think the Happy Time Murders might be a little more fulfilling than the Seth Rogen movies. I really don't like Seth Rogen movies personally.
I have really mixed feelings about the Happy Time Murders.
It's the Happy Time Murders.
Happy Time Murders. I saw the trailer for that, and I'm still kind of the jury's out, right? I don't know how I'm feeling about it. I'll probably go see it, especially now that I have Movie Pass, right? It's just there's no excuse.
The interest for me comes from the fact that they actually look like they're going to play with the fact that the characters are Muppets and deliver jokes based on that concept.
Right.
So it's not. I hope that it takes that a few steps further. This movie's been in kind of development heck for a long time, so to see that it's finally coming was exciting for me. I hope that it is good, but if it's not, I'll tell you. Yeah, we do keep it family friendly here, so we probably won't go too deep into that movie when it does come out.
That's for a different podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. Just kind of bring it back together and wrap up my movies and TV. So the thing I have to say about Deadpool and Deadpool 2, like the last thing is just that like it's a testament to how great both those movies are when you're not sure whether or not you like the first or the second one better. Like it was just a dead stalemate for me until I had to sit down and rewatch the first one so I could make a decision. But moving on, I'm still watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm still really enjoying it. It hasn't peaked yet. And so if you haven't started that, if you're looking for, just a really fun, lighthearted show, well, I guess lighthearted might not always be the best word for it, but Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it's funny. But my last movie was Requiem for a Dream. It stars Jared Leto, and it plays with like, it's very like rough view into like addiction. You have like the main character, I forget his name, but played by Jared Leto, and they're trying to fulfill these dreams by getting and selling drugs. They're also getting themselves addicted to these drugs. And it just it jumps around between like these 3 or 4 characters. There's the 3 that are trying to, reach their dreams by selling drugs. But then it also takes a look at his mom, who becomes addicted to drugs to try and lose weight because she's going to be on TV. And, TV has been the only reason why this woman has been living. And it's just like, it's a very sad, dark film, but it's also like very raw and honest. And so I really appreciated it.
Yeah, I
needed a hug afterward.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Requiem for a Dream, and I think at one point I tried watching it. But again, that's one of those films that like you really need to be in the right mood to be able to get through it and really digest it.
It's edited in a very like weird way. Some scenes, like, I know what they were doing and I know why they were doing it. It was still kind of like jarring because you don't see techniques used like that very often.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was my movies for the week.
So with that, we'll move into anime.
Anime.
I guess I'll mention first, I caught back up on Shokugeki no Soma. And
good stuff is going on now.
I've been enjoying this half of the season. I didn't think it was like quite hitting the highs of like Shokugeki as I know it, but well, now we're back there. Like it just went boom. Yeah. That's what I wanted.
0 to 100.
Like this last episode, the most recent one, just like, yeah, this is the kind of stuff I expect from Shokugeki, where Yukihira just comes in and does something spectacular that, maybe you weren't expecting, and it empowers you, much in the way a lot of shonen anime does.
Anime.
A quick note, Intense note, that code should take you to the tournament page, but the tournament isn't live yet. Let me know if that's not working. I'll try to fix it, but it should be up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of Shokugeki's season. It is moving at a breakneck pace. Like they're flying through this stuff, which is nice because we only get an episode once a week, and like we get 13 a year. So
yeah,
very happy with that.
Breaks.
Apparently some good stuff's going on in the manga, but I don't read the manga, so can't comment on that. But I saw Roger posted a video and was like, "Don't you do me a spoil, Roger." I guess I should mention that right now. We'll be having a dedicated episode of the Breakdown Podcast to Shokugeki no Soma in July with Roger. We'll be talking about Season 3, so if you like Roger and you like us and you like Shokugeki, come back for that. We'll have some fun. What did you think of that last episode, Paul?
Oh, I watched it like right before we started, and so like my hype was just way up to here, and so I was just ready to go for the show too. But like, that's a lot of really exciting stuff going on, and like
it's going in
this
a cool
particular
direction.
Like half season, I wasn't sure quite what they were gonna do with it or where they were going. And like you were saying earlier, like it's kind of been really sort of slow in how they've been developing what's going on, and then all of a sudden, like,
boom,
they just right in your face with it, and I'm just. Oh, I was so upset that the episode ended. I just wanted to keep going for like 2.5 hours.
Michaela, while we were watching that episode, just like when a particular thing happened, and what happened, Paul, she was just like shouting, threw her fists up in the air, like she was super into it. Kind of busted an eardrum in the process, but that just shows you how exciting the show is. Logan, please give this show a watch.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is like
you do have till July.
Shonen like really big and right now. I see a lot of food coming out of Japan in that kind of variety. I mean, we get Shokugeki, but then we also have like Sushi Strikers, right?
Maybe it is, but
maybe
they've always just been culinary people we haven't noticed.
Food and we'll have in the next few years.
But for what it's worth, this anime is the food anime or the cooking anime.
Okay, yeah,
this is the one.
Yeah, I was almost thinking I just shouldn't watch it and then wait for the discussion and just be that guy who's just asking constant questions. Like, I am the audience. Like, I don't get this. Can you explain this to me?
What you need to do
is
accidentally watch the wrong shonen. Just something completely like off base.
And two of the characters have like the same name or like that.
I accidentally watched Shingeki no Kyojin instead of Shokugeki no Soma.
What was that? There was like a Saturday morning like cartoon where they would like make food and the food would fight.
Is that a real thing? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it might be like. I wish I could remember what it was. You should go look it up and watch that. It was like I think of like Fox Saturday morning cartoon.
You're not talking about. Was it a wrestling show? I think it was. I do remember what you're talking about.
I figured you would because I vaguely remember you.
Yes,
that's the one. Logan, go watch that.
Fighting Foodon. That came to me like all at once. It came back.
I was thinking of like Foodon Frenzy or something like that.
Fighting Foodon.
Fighting Foodon.
How did we get to this point?
We were talking Shokugeki no Soma.
At first, I was thinking of Ultimate Muscle.
Same thing. Logan, watch that one, and then you can talk about that when we talk about Shokugeki no Soma.
This looks zany.
It's kind of like kids? Food Wars. It's food fighting.
4 kids.
Was it an anime or American show?
I think it was an anime.
It was dubbed by 4 kids.
Oh yeah, this is an anime. Oh, it's Fighting Foodons.
Fighting Foodons, yeah. It was dubbed by 4 kids.
The only reason I remembered it is because they would say Fighting Foodon like when they started battling, and that typical 4 kids anime style. Let it rip, Beyblade. Good lord, I forgot this existed. Thank you for bringing me down this weird like acid trip memory.
You're welcome.
So on top of Shokugeki no Soma, of course, watched My Hero Academia. I'm incredibly excited for tomorrow's episode, but I will say we are currently headed down a Naruto path that I would like to kind of maybe veer off in another direction.
I think if that was where they were going, it would have been like the last episode would have ended with more finality to it.
Yeah,
they presented like another like path.
I'm seeing this going a different way, so I'm not as concerned as I was. But I definitely was before.
When they go if they go full Sasuke retreat with it, then I'll be upset.
Yeah, if that's what it becomes, I'll be angry.
That makes it so much worse if they do it like that.
We already have Naruto. Naruto did it well. Maybe you could say well.
If you want to if you want to reference that or pay homage to that,
if it's an homage,
that's cool.
That's fine.
If you just fully copy the story arcs, though,
if it's Toyotaro,
I'm very strongly not okay with that.
Captain America for his Goku pictures, then we got a problem. Also, how awful is that Toyotaro in his manga panels is tracing other people's artwork?
We're missing the important part to this.
That's awful.
Goku was so mainstream. He was in Infinity War. Goku was in Infinity War. How great is that?
I got to throw it back to that tweet that I sent you guys where it was a next time on Dragon Ball Super, and it was the plot to Infinity War. They took that meme. They made that into a meme and just ran with it. I love it.
It's so bad that like that whole event is happening, but it gives us so much potential for memes that it's gold.
I just like I've heard that Toyotaro has been accused of this in the past. I hope it's like not as bad as it looks right now, because right now it looks really bad.
If it was like just the one accusation, it would have been a completely different story. The fact there's other accusations kind of makes him seem like he's plagiarizing hardcore versus like paying homage to these other these other comics.
I would rather Toriyama keep drawing the manga at that point, and he hates drawing manga. So back to My Hero Academia. It was a really solid episode. The performances in this show from the dub cast is incredible. I see your comments in Intense Snow Plays. We'll get to that. Don't worry. It's a yes from me, by the way. So yeah, I'm incredibly excited for tomorrow's episode. This particular season has just been a high from the beginning. Like, they plunged you right into like the heaviest part of the plot, and they've just been running with it ever since. It's been pretty awesome. Though I will say, for like the last 4 or 5 weeks, we've been in this forest encountering this villain battle. It was getting a little stale just because we've been in the same background for so long. So it'll be nice to kind of get into a new rhythm with a new arc.
I wish that those episodes would have followed more like how it started, where you have like Midoriya versus just the one villain, and it goes until he wins.
Yeah.
And just like maybe a few more like really solid, really intense.
I think it's weird because we didn't build to this. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the show's changing, so it's taking a kind of a different pace in different ways. And it's not like
you see this
kind of thing lasted very long. I mean, we're already, we finished it. Like, it's now we're doing other things. So in the grand scheme of things, if you're like watching this, if you're like, oh, I've never watched My Hero before, and you're binging this show, you're going to get through those episodes really quick, and it's not going to be like hardly anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying it as a negative. I'm just saying, like, in a week-to-week situation, this kind of reminds me more of the
very long war arc.
Yeah, exactly. The war arc from Naruto, which is 4 years in the exact same story, is too long.
Yeah,
I feel like they had now that it's done, like that was probably like a good length for it. I mean, granted, it's not completely done, but they got out of that setting.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing, is they got out of that setting. Other things are happening.
I was just having bad flashbacks of 4 years with battles in Naruto taking place at nighttime with the same exact color temperature. I forgot what Naruto's orange jumpsuit looked like because I hadn't seen it in so long.
I feel like
Naruto PTSD.
I feel like My Hero won't go on forever like some shows.
No, this definitely feels like it's going to have a finite ending sooner than these other shows.
That's what I'm excited about. I mean, it could be like maybe 7 or 8 seasons, and I wouldn't mind, as long as they know what they're doing and they're not just dilly-dally,
Yeah.
But I'll just mention real quick, I went back and I watched the first 2 episodes. And Brandon, when you were talking to me about this before I'd even started watching it, you called it an instant classic, right?
I've seen the first 2 episodes 3 times.
Yeah.
Same.
And so like I wasn't so on that page until I rewatched the first 2 episodes last night.
You really see how far it's come.
Well, and then you see how well crafted, with all the context that you're aware of, those 2 episodes take on so much more meaning. Like those are some really, really well crafted episodes. Like, you couldn't have asked for a better premiere. You know? Like, those 2 episodes are phenomenal, and they really set the stage for the nature of the world and what we're in, like what we're getting into. Right, you know what you're getting into when you get into the show, and it gives you every feel that the show is ever going to give you in the first 2 episodes. Just in like little pieces. Right, I cried at a point in each episode. Right, I cried. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. Whether it be like the moments, like the saddest moments when Deku realizes that, oh, I'm never gonna have a quirk and I can't be a hero, and then like the second episode comes around, and all of a sudden he's like running into danger, and then all of a sudden he's, you see how that relationship evolves between Deku and All Might, and how, now Deku exists to All Might in the first episode. And then the second episode, All Might realizes that he's the one that should have One for All.
I specifically will never forget the emotion I felt when All Might was standing before Midoriya, and Midoriya was, on the ground sobbing because All Might, his number one idol in all of history, was acknowledging him and telling him that he could be a hero too. It made me cry the first time I watched it because it is an intense scene.
The first season as a whole isn't the best, but the beginning and the end of it are some of like the most memorable anime moments I think I've ever come across. Like, I will never forget the end of season 1, and I will never forget the beginning of it.
I should also take a moment to mention that a good portion of why this show works so well in those intense scenes is because they are drawn really well. Like, the emotions in the characters come across.
Yes.
In spades.
There's the shot, of when All Might takes off right from the ground after he like destroys like this liquid villain and bottles him up, and then Midoriya grabs onto his leg, and the animation for his face when they're like shooting through the air, it's incredible. It's such a good shot. It's so active and fluid and cartoony. It's amazing. It's so good. The animation is top notch.
That's one of the reasons like I'm so excited for the new Dragon Ball Super movie, because in that teaser you see like elements of that very animated look with when characters move. Because I think these animators are starting to realize, and maybe it's the production companies, I don't know, but that these softer, rounder looks can result in more fluid, action-focused animation.
Well, I mean, also that's what American companies have been doing with animation since forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a while for anime to catch up.
Yeah, but you can see that like they're taking inspiration places, and these shows are looking really good.
Like Pokemon had a drastic change, like going into the Sun and Moon seasons, like a complete like change in art style from that angular kind of samey anime look to this rounder, more cartoonish look. But it makes the battles just look so much better because they have a lot more freedom. So definitely something to be acknowledged.
We can't talk about how good the animation is with that without looking at the link that I posted in the chat.
Oh boy.
I wish I could have found it with subtitles, but
that is by far one of my favorite scenes in entirety of history. Oh my goodness. Logan, have you seen the Japanese version of that? It is.
No, I've only seen the.
I don't think that scene carried over well in the dub, but
they didn't carry it over in the dub because they knew they couldn't top it, and they were incredibly right in changing the dialogue. Holy stinking super crap!
See, I really enjoyed that. I was busted up laughing when that happened.
Yeah, it was just as funny in the English version because they made it their own. That's something I really admire with Funimation. Yeah, super good. Dream Drop Sora has brought up the Thundercats controversy. I am of the opinion that show can be whatever it wants to be. We're not the target
audience.
Same. Why are you do you just want the old Thundercats? Just go watch the old Thundercats.
Well, right? they did have like that new like animated version that was like kind of mature, and I think is kind of what most people want. The thing with that particular remake, the problem with that particular remake is that it's not like people who are upset are not the target audience, and so that's probably a lot of the problem with it. Is like, they're not trying to capture us. it's something
No.
that we want them to like. We
This
want them to
looks
chase
like
us after it
Thundercats
with it,
for
but
a new generation. It's not.
I've been
I
having
was-
this argument with people about, and I'm probably going to set some people on fire, but I like Teen Titans Go a whole lot. That show has an incredible writing team, and they don't get any acknowledgement because people can't get over the fact that it's not regular Teen Titans.
We'll get Teen Titans.
They
Yeah.
talk
They'll
about,
finish it.
they make references to it all the time in episodes about how that's what they want to be doing, but there's reasons they can't.
Yeah, no, because that show exists, I think we'll eventually finish Teen Titans.
They're getting
Yeah.
a movie in July. Teen Titans is going to come back. Like,
Yeah.
it's alive
I mean,
and well right now.
I get why people are upset, and like I'm still a little bit upset about it, but I know that like that show wasn't it wasn't for me, and so I know that they do great things with it, and it is something that I eventually do want to sit down and watch, but like I'm not gonna give it a whole lot of crap because it's not for me.
It's sad
wish it
too
was.
because
I
a
wish
lot
it
of
was,
the
but-
humor is like based in DC's history, where only DC fans would maybe get some of the jokes. Like, there's a little bit for everyone there, but people just can't get past the fact that it's not Teen Titans. So I feel like Thundercats Roar is going to have the same unfortunate problem, whether or not it's good. Like, that's not the
Yeah,
point right now.
think if it's good, I think it'll do well. And just because like they'll promote it and then kids will watch it, and then I don't know, I'll probably try it out. And I didn't even watch. See, and that's the thing. I'm committed to like Thundercats because I never watched Thundercats.
Yeah, I'm not
You know,
invested in it either.
that wasn't right. So it's
The
like
thing that-
who cares?
The thing I like about
Obviously, some
this
people do, but
direction they're going with it is that if you grew up and you watched the original Thundercats, you can sit down and you'll probably have like what you were experiencing with Teen Titans Go, where you'll still get a kick out of it. It's not exactly what you wanted from it, but it's something you can enjoy with your kid.
Yeah,
And it's something that they will enjoy and get them. It'll help you share that passion with them.
I wouldn't be surprised if the writers are going to try their best to throw in bones for original fans. It's not all gloom and doom. Maybe without this show, you would never get Thundercats again. You got to consider that. Like the same thing with Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans Go is the bridge to getting what you want, and if you don't walk across it, we'll never get there.
yeah.
So sorry, I was very triggered.
Well, I mean, I think that's true for a lot of things. And so, yeah, I complain about it. You have the right to, but I think there's better things that you could be.
It was such a timely like event for that to come out because I was just watching like listened to all of Weird Heat, like every episode they had, and they were talking about this. I think it might have been more in the context of like Teen Titans Go. But that was really like an eye-opening moment for me where, you know, they were talking, no, it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And they were talking about how like the new show doesn't necessarily appeal to them, but it's not supposed to.
Right.
Like the previous
No,
show didn't
man.
appeal to me, though it sounds like I probably should have watched it because maybe it did appeal to me and I just didn't realize it. But yeah, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a good example of this because that series has had a new iteration like at least like 8 or 9 times. This is
Well,
nothing
they-
new for them.
That's
There's
so
so
cool.
many generations.
Yeah.
That's
you know?
so cool. You get
And they all
Teenage
stand alone.
Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, they're all like really different. That's what we get with Zelda every time. You know?
Well, I mean, that's why like that
It's like, it just looks
Splatfest
different.
was so cool because like so many people have experienced this franchise in different ways, but we all still like, you know, the 4 turtles, you know, everybody has like a favorite turtle.
From I saw some trailers. I've seen the artwork. I think it looks good. I think this, you know, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like show like this, I think it could be really good. And so the same goes for like all these other stuff. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah.
Like if we didn't get different, we would have never gotten to what you guys liked in the first place.
Right.
Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles started out as a parody of like dark DC comics, and then people took it seriously, and now it's its own thing. If they hadn't taken that risk, and yes, it was a risk, you wouldn't have gotten the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which you love. So why can't kids these days have their own version of it to latch onto? I don't see the harm.
it brings it back to like being able to share your passions with your kids. You know, they're going to be watching a different version than you, but you can still enjoy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles together. Once they're done watching that, you know, you can always introduce them to one you grew up with and just
And they might not like
how they're
it,
different.
but we have to live with that. You know, when we were growing up, we didn't necessarily like the shows our parents liked when they were kids.
Right.
True.
It's a cycle that will never end.
Yeah, it's always going to be like, oh, our generation was better, oh, this or that, and people, and just because it's
Nostalgia
different.
is powerful stuff.
It's not better, it's not worse, it's different, you know?
Yeah.
And if you enjoy it more, cool. If you enjoy it less, that's also cool. Go watch something else.
Like Nintendo Snow Plays is not apparently not a big fan of Teen Titans Go at all, and that's the reaction I'm used to seeing. I disagree almost 150%, but it is what it is, and we have to live with it. It's not going to change.
If you don't enjoy it, you don't have to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So going back to anime.
Woo, that was a long-winded tangent.
So we talked My Hero, we talked Shokugeki no Soma. Did anyone have anything else other than me?
I think it's into you, Paul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still watching Black Clover. And we finally, I think, started moving into like things are actually happening again. I feel like I've said that like every week. And then it just ends up being more like fillerish stuff. Actually, now that I reflect on it, it's probably just a 2-episode filler of it. And so I'm disappointed again. But then there's Steins Gate Zero. It's exciting stuff. They're really
I really
like where they're
that.
going with the second season.
So is this like an
I
official
specifically look at Steins Gate and I
continuation?
go, Paul wants me to watch that. I'm not going to watch it.
That's just gonna be Logan's official stamp. You can get a T-shirt that says that too.
Is this an actual sequel to Steins Gate, or
it's a video? I think the video game is a direct sequel. It's not like a traditional sequel though. It doesn't take place where the first season left off. This is a different timeline.
a different continuity?
This is I think they call it like the beta line. So I can't really get into it without like
This show's based on a visual novel, or is it original?
Yeah, it's a visual novel.
So is this just a different path from the visual novel, or is it original?
I mean, this was a second game. There was Steins Gate, the visual novel, Steins Gate Zero, a second visual novel. It's really hard to describe. When you get done with Steins Gate, I think it'll make more sense what this is.
I think you triggered Dream Drop, Sora.
Yes, I've been telling these two to watch Steins Gate for the longest time because I watched it, and by the time I got done with it, I was just in tears, and I was.
When I finish it, I'm still going to tell you that I haven't finished it.
I look forward to talking to you about it when you actually like get past that initial push.
It'll happen. Don't worry.
Eventually.
I got a lot actually that I've been playing recently, but I'll let you finish your anime.
That was basically it.
Oh, well, speaking of what I've been playing, kind of on a whim, I don't know. Over the weekend, I was just overcome with the most incredible urge to play Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I don't know what happened. It just happened. And then I went to GameStop and I bought it. And then I may have accidentally bought Fire Emblem Warriors as well, but that's another topic.
That's the one I'm interested in because like you had been talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and like I was right there with you on that, and then you come home with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Fire Emblem Warriors. Like, what spawned that?
I'll get into that. So, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, like I said, I was just overcome with the urge. I don't know, talking to Roger about it, or I don't even remember if I talked to him about it or if I just listened to him talk about it.
You told me about like that stream where it was like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Ocarina of Time, and the fact that people were so split on that made me interested in playing this game.
And, you know, I had a pretty big interest in it to begin with because I've heard nothing but overwhelming praise for the original Xenoblade Chronicles, and especially from the side of the story. And that's kind of what I was excited about. I played Xenoblade Chronicles, and the gameplay didn't really resonate with me, but that's because I didn't really understand it that well. That's something Xenoblade Chronicles 2 does incredibly well. It does not dump the entire, like, battle
Combat
system on you
right
all at
there.
once, it's drip feeding it to you throughout the entire adventure.
Because there's a lot to it.
I'm currently in the middle of chapter 3, and I've learned, I think, 3 new battle techniques, or like 3 new things I can do in a battle to think about. They give you so much time to get used to these new additions to gameplay that it gives you room to experiment, really learn what's valuable, what you should be doing before they introduce something new to you. This is really, really well done. I have to praise it for that, because JRPGs are often really intimidating for me because there are so many levels to the gameplay that I'm not sure I can comprehend all at once. So I have nothing but praise for Xenoblade 2 right now with how it offers that up. Logan, I know you've played Xenoblade Chronicles 1.
Yes, sir.
Does it kind of follow that trend too, or does it do it differently?
Honestly, it's been a minute. I never had problems getting into the game. I didn't finish the game because it's a big game, but I have put maybe like 20, 30 hours into it. And I never had an issue trying to learn things. Like, I feel like once they taught you things, it was like, okay, this seems like it makes sense. It looks like they maybe made things a little bit more complicated or changed it up in the second one. So, but it's good to hear that, like, they kept it so it's like, okay, you're not going to feel like it's foreign or overly complicated. Like, you're going to have a good grasp of what's going on.
This is still very much Xenoblade Chronicles gameplay. I think like the major changes just to the direct gameplay that I can think of off the bat is if I want to say in Xenoblade Chronicles, like when you initiate a battle, you get like trapped in like a battle ring. Is that right? They trap you in a confined space to have the battle in.
Yeah.
In Xenoblade Chronicles 2, they don't have that. Like, the entire world stays open for you.
Oh, actually, no. I think it is. You don't get trapped. Like, you can run away, but they'll still keep attacking you.
Okay.
And
so
like they'll still be aggroed.
In Xenoblade 2,
you can escape.
In Xenoblade 2, then it works the same way because they'll aggro you, but you have the option to run away. Whether or not you do is completely up in the air.
Right. Yeah, no, the battle system's kind of seamless. Like, it just kind of like you go in and out of battle, like, and nothing happened, you know?
So, like, the major changes are the fact that rather than, like, in Xenoblade Chronicles 1, your arts were, like, on a scroll wheel that you had to, like, scroll with the D-pad, I think, if I remember correctly. But
like that.
In Xenoblade 2, you can only use 3 arts. You can only assign 3 arts at once, and they're assigned to the face buttons. So they're just easy to access, which is something that I really had a problem with in the first Xenoblade. And I want to say, like, there was one other thing. Oh, yeah, so, like, when you attack, it still has the auto attack, but you only attack when you're not moving.
Right.
I'm fairly certain you could move and attack at the same time in Xenoblade 1.
Yeah, I think you are right. That makes it seem like you like risk versus reward kind of thing, like, because maybe they're attacking something else and you have to stop and make sure that, like, I guess I haven't really gotten into the gameplay, but it makes sense. It doesn't seem like it takes away or anything like that.
Moving is now a risk. Which I think is a nice added element to the gameplay because like health potions and stuff will get dropped on the field depending on the types of arts you use, and you have to make a concerted effort to walk over to it to pick it up during the fight, which could leave you vulnerable. You won't be doing damage.
I've died several times doing that.
Quickly, Nintendo Play says, if you're someone new to open world RPGs, is Xenoblade 2 a decent enough starting point? I'm like 14 hours deep now. I would say it's more welcoming than a lot of JRPGs are. There's a lot to the gameplay, but it takes its time explaining that stuff to you.
And you don't need to have played the first game to play this. No. Doesn't seem like it.
There are elements from Xenoblade 1 that might come into play in the story, but not to supplement the story, more to throw a bone to people who played the first one. As I understand it. I don't know yet. So yeah, I would say maybe give it a try. There is an option to play it on easy too, so if you'd rather just experience it for the story, you could just dial the difficulty down, and it lets you change it at any time. You're not like locked into anything. I was not sure how I would respond to this game because I was not super into the gameplay in the first one, but I am like so unbelievably on board with this game. I could not believe like it like sunk its teeth into me so quickly. I was shocked. Within like 2 or 3 hours, I was hooked. I was like, okay, I love this game.
I'm getting there, but I'm still not quite.
It's a lot to process.
Yeah. I do, I got through like the first chapter and I accidentally like skipped a cutscene. And so I decided to go look it up on YouTube. And it amazed me that I had witnessed like an hour's worth of cutscene in one chapter. Like, it was just mind-boggling to me that there was like that much like exposition, and I'm a big exposition guy, so like I love that.
There is exposition everywhere.
I really dig that. Like, that's a good selling point to me for this game. So I think regardless of how I feel about like the gameplay, it's still a story that I'm going to stick with and experience. And
you can also go back. There's a menu in the game where you can watch any cutscene you've witnessed.
Dang it!
It's in there. You can even change the weather settings and what time of day it is because they're not pre-rendered.
Oh.
The story is one thing I want to touch on. I absolutely adore it so far. Basically, like,
Pretty good.
The world is really interesting. It's a sea of clouds, and the problem that these characters are facing is that they don't have anywhere to live. Like in Xenoblade 1, the characters lived on like the Mechonis and the Bionis, like these two warriors that were fighting. Now they live on Titans, and the Titans are dying, so they're running out of space to live. So Rex lives as a scavenger. He will like dive down into the sea and pick up resources that he then sells to the cities, so that they can, keep their livelihood going. And that's how he makes his money.
And so he can send money home to his family.
Yes, who I haven't even met
sweetheart.
yet.
Yeah, honestly though, like this game, when they showed it off one of these times, I was like, is this Skies of Arcadia? And I mean, you guys haven't played Skies of Arcadia.
No.
And I would encourage you to if you have access to it, because it's a really great game. But yeah, just flying ships around and like just the air, and there's just clouds everywhere, and it gave me Skies of Arcadia vibes. And so it made me want to play that game that much more.
It's really cool, like when you're on a big continent-sized Titan, because obviously their level designs at Monolith Soft are really cool, just like beautiful vistas. But you always get this sense that you're on a living thing, because if you look in the sky, you can see like the arms or the wings of the thing you're on moving up and down, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm on a living organism.
Right.
So the world is super cool. One criticism I think I have is unfortunately the voice acting. The voice acting, I say, for the most part, is pretty strong.
It has moments where it's like, what is this performance?
Yeah, like there's certain like really hype moments where a character should definitely be yelling, but the performer didn't do that. So some of the direction is definitely kind of skewed. I don't think it has anything to do with the performers themselves.
I mean, they had like 14 hours worth of cutscenes, so I'm sure that like
there's a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure that like certain things were bound to get overlooked.
For the most part,
especially depending on their scheduling, For
the most part, I'd say it's pretty strong. Like in the moments where it should be strong, for the most part, it is. There is the option to go onto the eShop. You can download the Japanese voice track for free, and you can use that instead if that's your cup of tea. Personally, I'd just rather have the dub while, that's for me. Xenoblade Chronicles, had that British dub, and they did that again with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So
what's the reasoning? I mean, even with the mix,
it's only some characters have British accents.
Okay,
it felt more Scottish, but
because I could see that,
maybe,
just like having a wide breadth of different accents, like that's okay for an English dub,
I think the accents there are, for continuity sake, because so you have drivers, who like bind with blades. The blades are the swords, but they're also people. And for the most part, blades don't have those accents or those like British, Scottish accents. They have American accents. So there's a there's a sense that these people are different, and it actually adds a lot of neat diversity to the characters. So when you meet a new character, it's pretty clear right away whether this is a person who lives in the world or if they're a blade. So that's kind of
cool. Like too, like the younger characters have the accents, and it seems like the characters that have existed for a while,
like the Titans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can tell there's history between certain people, like they go way back.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna guess that like the accent's like an evolution of the world over time.
Mm-hmm. Dream Drop Source says the only downgrade I've seen from the first to the second game is the protagonist. Rex just feels like Shulk, but with most of Shulk's best traits pulled away. I don't have a Shulk to compare him to quite yet.
We have Smash.
Backslash.
I'll be upset. Those two. Speaking about Super Smash Bros., if we get Rex and Pyra in place of Shulk, I'll be upset. If we get them in addition,
so different. I would not expect that.
Yeah,
like the way they.
I hope we see Shulk in the next one.
I'm sure we will. You know? I'd be surprised if we didn't get him.
It's kind of like, why would you pull Marth out of Super Smash Bros.? You know, just because the new Fire Emblem game is out.
So
Roy's my boy.
I guess to sum it up, there's a lot to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's JRPG. But if that's your thing, definitely play it, because I am absolutely loving it. And there's some new story DLC that's coming out in the fall, and I'm really excited for that because I want to see what that's all like. The blade system's pretty cool, just like taking a chance on a core crystal and getting a new blade. Sometimes it's a rare blade. On my very first common core crystal I got a new rare blade, and I was like, yee, new rare blade. So like the regular blades are like these generic characters with generic names, but the rare blades are like these intricately designed characters. And when you go to their character pages in your menu, it actually tells you who voiced them in English, who voiced them in Japanese, and the illustrator.
Fancy.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. The first rare blade I got, her name's Agat, and she's got a big axe, and she looks like Mercy from Overwatch. So it's cool stuff.
All right. We'll talk about this probably a lot.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we're going to be done with it anytime soon.
Well, I heard the main story is like 65-ish hours, so I'm a 10th of the way there, I guess. Or 6th of the way there, excuse me.
Well, then I'll rephrase that. I'll be playing it for a long
while. On top of that, yes, I did buy Fire Emblem Warriors. The thing with that is Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition had just come out, and I was looking at the box, and I was like, I'm kind of tempted to pick this up because I liked Hyrule Warriors a lot. And then I had looked over at Fire Emblem Warriors, and I was like, well, this is just a completely new game that I've never played. And you're
still getting a similar experience.
Yeah, so with that in mind, I was like, this is the one I'm going to go with. But for the most part, I picked it up because it has 2-player co-op support for the entire game, and it gives me something to play with Michaela. And we've been playing it only together, so it's kind of our co-op game right now.
Also, I heard Fire Emblem Warriors is better than Hyrule Warriors.
I've heard the same thing. As of now, I don't agree yet. But there are aspects of it that I definitely think are better than Hyrule Warriors, but those have been implemented into the new port of that game.
Right.
But yeah, it's a Dynasty Warriors game. If that's your thing, it's your thing. If it's not, you're not going to enjoy it. Just bottom line.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I picked it up. I do wish there was more characters from other Fire Emblem games, like Ike and Roy, I believe, are not in it at all, which is surprising to me because, you know, they're big in Super Smash Brothers, and Ike is my favorite Fire Emblem character, just in general. So it's kind of sad to not have him playable.
Yeah, no kidding.
But it is what it is. I'll keep playing it. I'm enjoying it so far. Nintendo No Play says, honestly, some of these anime swordsmen and women really need to go. I know it's a generic complaint, but it's really clashed with the rest of the cast, which is very diverse. Is that in reference to
probably Smash
Brothers? Okay.
Yeah.
It's because Sakurai loves them. Actually, it's entirely his bias.
I think he needs to scale it back or do it like a different way so it's not like, because half the character select screen is like Fire Emblem characters, and it doesn't necessarily need to be that.
Chrom, Marth, and Lucina can all be the same character with costume swaps.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, even if they want to keep like the different like
Blade
physics.
balances.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there should be some way of like attaching that to the character swap.
Yeah, without just filling up another space.
Yeah,
I mean, we have
to a
to
degree, like. Sorry.
we have to look at characters like Lucina, not as anything clogging up the character roster, because she was just
Right.
added at the end because Sakurai had time, and he's like, you know what, I'll just throw in an extra character.
And then we'll just change how the sword works a little bit. And
Yeah.
I mean,
there it is.
I really like that a lot. It's just like we've talked about character slots before, and like I don't think that that's a thing per se.
I think it's a
But
myth.
you do have to think about
Yeah.
the menu and like the character select screen, how easy it is to find things, and I think it needs to be updated to accommodate an ever expanding roster.
Yeah, because we're over 60 characters right now. If they add another
I have
20
problem-
characters, we're over 80.
I have problems finding Captain Falcon most of the time.
he's
And you
he's
think
alone.
that since
That's
he's
why.
like, you think that since like I play him almost exclusively that I know where he's at, but I still don't. I still haven't learned.
I don't know. I think Smash 5 will handle the character roster page a little different, because it's a alarmingly large number now, and it's going to only get bigger. Assuming they don't cut anyone, but there's a rumor right now that they're not. And if they're not, that's great. No cuts.
Yeah.
No cuts ever. So on top of Fire Emblem Warriors, I played the Sushi Striker demo, and I wanted to give that a little bit of attention really quick, because this is a game that I'm not particularly interested in personally, because I'm not big into puzzle games myself. It's the fact that there's so many production values like to this game. Like there's full animated anime cutscenes with like full voice acting. The HD assets are really pretty. Like the menu designs are really strong in this game. This whole sense of identity is just there, like a really solid package in that regard. The gameplay didn't do a lot for me, but if you like puzzle games, you're probably going to enjoy this. They're mixing puzzles with battling. Like you have levels and stats and HP, and you're actually attacking your enemies using the plates that you get from eating sushi. So it's a cool concept. It's definitely unique, and I think puzzle fans will have a lot to like from this game. It's also going to have online multiplayer with one-on-one battles. So if this is your thing, I think this is a good package. Maybe a little on the pricey side, but a good package.
Yeah, I'll pick it up on a discount.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm waiting for. I was listening to Josh Thomas talk about some E3 stuff and all this other stuff, and he was talking about Sushi Strikers specifically, and he was like, "This is nice. I'd probably pay $20 for it, though."
That's kind of where I'm at. Like that's I think exactly the price that I would pay. 60's really far off from that. Like,
Well, aren't they pricing it at 50?
It's 50 on Switch, 40 on 3DS.
I keep forgetting that.
Yeah,
So like
'cause it was-
$50 is like
It's just a port of a 3. Switch games, like, don't complain.
And we don't
You
really
know?
know like how much content is stuffed in there. So for all we know, there's so much in that game it might actually be worth the $50 based on like content distribution.
Right.
But then again, like I said from the get-go, this is not my kind of game. I'm not really into puzzle games. So obviously, from my standpoint, I'm not going to think this is worth $50 because it's not something I'm personally invested in. But say I was like a big puzzle fan, maybe I would think it's worth $50. There's a lot of dynamics at play.
Logan, where do you stand on that price point? Because like, for when I think puzzle games, I think like $5-10 on the eShop, not $50 for this type of experience.
Yeah, well, it really depends. It doesn't matter if it's a puzzle game or not. It just really depends on the experience, For a simple puzzle game, like I'm not going to pay $50 for a Tetris game,
Yeah.
If it's jam-packed with modes and cool online play, maybe that increases a little, but I'm still not going to pay more than $20 for Tetris. And I love Tetris. But I have Tetris on everything. I can play Tetris on my phone. I can play Tetris on my web browser. I can play Tetris on my 3DS already.
I don't play Tetris on my web browser at work all the time.
I think it's important to
Where
also
did you
note
get
that
off?
this game is also an RPG. This is not
Right.
strictly a puzzle game.
Okay.
Right.
You have characters that you foster, like these little sushi sprites that they evolve like Pokemon actually when they level up.
Well, that's cool.
And they
I
have
didn't
different
know that.
special abilities. Like there's a lot going on here, like more than meets the eye. And
Right.
so far that seems to be like the general reaction I've been seeing from people is they're like, hey, maybe this game was not what I thought it was. Because we have a awful habit of judging things when we first see them.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying it's not worth $50, but when I have $50 to spend, I'm not going to be spending it on Sushi Strikers.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I am into puzzle games, like there are cheaper, like much more solid puzzle games that I haven't played through that have a big good story and cost a lot less that I'd played through way before I'd hit this one up.
If sales reflect that price point is wrong, I do think this is one of the cases where Nintendo would actually drop the price of a game.
Yeah. I mean, considering it's priced at $40 on the 3DS,
That's actually one thing.
there's
I was
already
about
a
to
cheaper
say.
place you can get it. And the
Like-
UI might be even better for the 3DS than it would be for the Switch.
The only thing the
Even
Switch
if
has got
it's,
going
like-
for it is it's HD.
Even
Right.
if it is more than meets the eye and like chock full of content, like I still feel like $40, like that price point starts to make sense to me. 50 somehow doesn't.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. And when does this launch? I don't even remember. Is this a summer
June
game?
8th.
Okay, so this is a couple weeks before Mario Tennis.
Yeah, so
That right there
So
tells
this
me that
is
they're not
like-
super
this
confident
is-
in this.
they're pre-E3 game. You
Well,
know?
Mario Tennis, I guess. Well, it comes out right after E3, but they're letting us play it next week.
Yeah.
Well, at least they released a demo. It's good that Nintendo is like trying to get
Yeah,
this in people's
for
hands.
smaller, less established games, I think demo is great because again, nobody's gonna buy it if they don't know what it is. It's one thing if it's a well-known like franchise and a well-established gameplay, you don't even necessarily need a demo. But for something that's so foreign to people, it's nice to give them an in before they decide they're gonna decide that it's worth $50.
Yeah.
For the sake of time, we should move on. Splatoon 2, this is something that we all played. If you
Yep.
were here with us, we were participating
We're sorry.
in the Splatfest on Team Donnie.
Real good.
Tom Donnie. Team Donnie did win the Splatfest, so go Donnie
No
fans.
thanks to us.
No, we were bad. It was we played like 13 or 14 matches and we won a single game. One game in the entire stream.
Skill.
That's pretty good.
Skill.
Pretty good.
That was like one of like the worst experiences I've ever had in Splatoon from like a
It
competitive
was
standpoint.
just like the saddest stream ever.
Morality was like so low. You guys were like messaging me
give
like,
up.
how much longer are we
Give
doing
up
this?
If you want to laugh at people that are bad at Splatoon, go back and watch our stream.
When-
It's a
when
good
does it
time.
end?
Hopefully the Mario Kart stream goes a little different than that. You guys will be involved, so if you decide that you're going to be better than us, then maybe it'll happen again. Who knows? But it was fun. I'm happy Team Donnie won. I love Splatoon 2. I absolutely love Splatoon 2. I'm excited for the news on June 9th. Can't wait to see what that is. And Octo Expansion is a day one buy for me. I'm going to pay for it and probably play through it all in one go if I can.
Yeah, same.
You guys have any more comments on Splatoon 2?
No, not on Splatoon 2.
But
It's
Logan,
got motion controls.
you've been playing Detroit.
I've been playing Detroit. I've been waiting for this game for a long time. And so just to preface this, obviously, if you're not familiar with David Cage has made games in this vein before, most notably Heavy Rain on the PS3, which hasn't aged that well. I don't think it aged well. I think it had its quirks about it when it launched, you
But
know.
it was also
but
kind
it
of
was,
a new thing when it launched.
right.
too.
It was so different from everything that had been done before that people were kind of like they forgave it for some of its flaws. So I feel like Detroit is a more refined version of that. The character models and facial expression, while they're perfect, they're miles better. Like there are some times where it looks like uber nice. Like I can't believe I'm playing this on a PS4, you know? But they can dedicate all of that, you know, to making the game look really nice because it's not like it's a complicated game. It's all scripted and but the appeal is that, you know, you could finish the game. It has, all these different endings and all these different ways you can get from point A to point B. You can have characters die in the first scene that you're involved with, and then they give you flow charts for after each scene. So you can see if there's, some of the scenes will play through the same every time, though I don't believe all those scenes will always be accessible. Maybe you do something in a previous scene that unlocks that scene, but sometimes you'll come out of a scene and you'll realize there was 6 different endings, to a single scene, wow. 6 possibilities. And also, depending on where you're at in the game, some of those options might be closed off because you didn't do something previously in another scene with another character.
So there's definitely a lot of layers to the way the story progresses.
Yeah. I don't anticipate this game being much longer than 10 to 12 hours.
That seems about right for this kind of thing.
Yeah. Right. And I wouldn't want it to be much longer. But the catch is that I will probably play through this game multiple times. Because of the possibilities of doing things with different characters and getting different outcomes, Like right now, I'm trying just to kind of play what feels right, like you would like any RPG or something like that. You play what flows, and then you go through with specific goals in mind. Like, okay, I'm going to be a jerk this entire time. Like everything that motivates me is I'm just going to try to be like as evil as possible, or I'm going to try as good as possible, or brown nosy as possible. So there's a myriad of ways you can play through this game, and that's what really adds a lot of that value. And I can't wait to see how much and how big of like your mistakes or your triumphs, like how big of a difference those are supposed to make. Are they really going to make a difference in the end? And that's something I probably won't really find out unless I've played it through 2 or 3 times. So I'll probably have finished my first run through by next week, because I'll be playing a lot of this game this next week. And then maybe by the next week I'll have played it through a second time and had a completely different experience and see what's common, or maybe what's the quickest ending, right? It's like all the characters die and they don't like triumph, and there's like these really sad endings.
I'm gonna speed run Detroit.
Right, see what kind of things I can do with that. Because like there's games do that all the time, and I'm pretty sure that like even Heavy Rain had some endings that were kind of off the wall. I'm
getting the impression you're enjoying yourself.
Oh yes, very much. But also it should be noted I enjoy this kind of game. I understand that not everybody's going to enjoy these kind of games. It's like an interactive movie. That's really the best way to describe it. It's an interactive movie, and the main thing is giving you variance in how the story plays out. And so if you're really into story and you're really into just like super uber pretty environments and uber pretty like models of like you can see all of the details and the faces, and there's even some really big names in here too for actors.
You kind of sparked a thought. There's been a lot of talk, and I don't remember specifically who this comes from, but they want to make a movie, like an actual movie in this style, where people would come to the theater with their phones, and their phones would prompt them with the decisions live, and they'd plug in their answers, and whoever wins, that's the direction the movie will go.
Didn't Nintendo have something like that too?
People have been making jokes about that kind of thing.
But there are people out there who want it to be a real thing.
No, I'd be surprised if it hasn't happened, at least in some capacity somewhere.
Maybe it has.
And very simple. But yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like this kind of thing fits this medium. I'd honestly be interested in seeing how this kind of gameplay translates to VR in the future, and playing through like a smaller, because it's not like a big game in the sense of here massive environments. They're just really small like scenes, and so you load a scene, you do some actions, those affect what scenes come next and what plays out and how it plays out.
I actually think that type of game would be a really great fit. Now that you mention it,
yeah, because it's not trying to do too much.
It adds the immersion of it.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting. Obviously, it wouldn't be exactly the same, and it's able to remain cinematic as it is because it's just on TV. But it had to change for VR. But I really enjoy this game. The voice acting is fantastic. It's like really top notch. Again, they have some really big name actors. I think Jesse Williams. Yeah, Jesse Williams. And he's been in some he's all over TV, right? So television, Law and Order, Grey's Anatomy. Oh, that's the big one. He's on Grey's Anatomy, right? So
there you go.
He's practically a real doctor.
It tells you the caliber of this project, and obviously David Cage's last project had a Willem Dafoe in it, So I'm not surprised to see big name actors in this video game either. But I'm really enjoying myself, and I'll let you guys know more once I get more into it.
Looking forward to it.
Sweet. What you got, Paul?
It was Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Splatoon 2, so I'm already tapped out.
I think we're just about.
Yeah. So on the same,
We broke it down.
We did. So on that same note, we'll be talking about Xenoblade 2 as we progress more through that. Logan will get you more on Detroit as he progresses through that. Once again, I'm going to keep reiterating this. We will be doing all kinds of coverage for E3. So if you want our opinions and you want to see these reactions live, this is the place to be.
Come experience it with us.
Yeah, we want to hang out with you guys.
With Paul specifically.
React together. We'll be streaming Nintendo's stream live here, so you can watch our reactions live. We'll also upload all of the reactions separately later throughout that day, so that you can find everything if you're looking for something specific. But I'm incredibly excited for E3. Today has been especially hard for me for some reason. I can't stop thinking about it.
Has been really tough.
I got 2 more work weeks to get through, and then I'm on vacation, and it's E3 time. I need it.
That's the best use of vacation, period.
Well, last year, I missed Nintendo's E3 show because I had a news story I was on, and it hurt because Metroid Prime 4 got announced, and I wasn't there to see it. I wanted that game for years. I was hurt. At least it was only a logo. Yeah. I'll be there for the gameplay reveal. So with that, I want to thank you guys for watching. Come
back tomorrow for our tournament.
Yeah, come back tomorrow night for the tournament. The code is on our Twitter. Can someone post another link to that in the chat real quick? Invite your friends too. I don't know how many people are going to get to come out, but we'd love to have as many as possible. The more the merrier. There's no limit on who can join. It's completely open to the public.
Yeah. Also, just go on Discord. If you're not on our Discord already, you can find all of the information.
Right.
I know.
We're on Discord all the time. If you guys want to talk to us, just get on there. Feel free to chat.
Yeah.
We're totally
also,
open to it.
if you want,
we have all kinds of channels.
Switch friend codes. My friend code is in my profile on Discord. You can literally just right click and hit profile
to exchange friend codes.
My friend code's
in the Discord
on my
if
Discord.
You want to do that. So definitely join us there.
What it's for.
Missed it by that much.
Oh, thank you, Nintendo Snow.
You
are deserving of that mod roll you got. I had something else I wanted to say, but it's leaving me. Oh, okay. I kind of have something important I want to talk to you guys about. We've talked a little bit about this behind the scenes, but I do want to get some feedback. We have been entertaining the idea of separating the Nintendo news and Nintendo Talk portion of this podcast into its own podcast. It would take the time slot of the Breakdown podcast, but the Breakdown podcast would still be its own thing and recorded live on a separate day. Are you guys into that as an idea? Do you like what we're doing right now? Because we notice a lot of you guys come here for the Nintendo stuff, and if it works better for us to separate that, we want to do that. So definitely let us know. We'll play around with the idea for a while.
Let us know in our Discord. Let us know in our Discord.
We'll play around with the idea for a while. Maybe we'll do a couple test runs. If you guys like it, we'll keep doing it. I just wanted to bring that up to you guys because I want to make this a conversation. Like, I want to know what you guys want to see, because you're our fans. Without you, we're nothing. So that's why I think it's important. So definitely give us some feedback on that. Follow us on all of our Twitter pages that are on the video version. I'm at Babababs, at Loggydubs, at Gunnysaurus. We're at Breakroom Arcade. If you want to support us even more, you can help us out on our Patreon. It'd help us do this full time, and maybe next year we'll even go to E3's media. That's the goal right now, is to grow. So I want to thank you guys for helping us out with all that, especially you two, Nintendo Snow and Dream Drop Sora. It's such a pleasure to have you guys here every week. So I guess I have to thank Roger for exposing us to each other and making this beautiful fandom to friendship thing happen. But with that, we're going to see you guys next week. Make sure to come back tomorrow for the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Tournament.
Get ready to lose.
Logan's throwing down the challenge just like that.
Gotta go first place. Gotta go
Careful,
fast.
man. Careful. You might just accidentally have a Splatoon 2 moment again.
So with that, guys, we'll see you next week with episode 16 of the Breakdown Podcast. So don't break your backs, break in the games, but for now, break time's over.